Hi there, I'm Kelly Damphus and I'm the Chancellor here at Arkansas State University. Welcome to the First Friday video for April 2021. This is a First Friday video filled with a lot of milestones, and one of the milestones is that for the first time since March of 2020, I'm actually in the same room with one of our guests and we're not wearing masks. Now we are still distancing for now, but we're able to get together and be maskless in this First Friday video because we've both been vaccinated. So it's a really important feature that all of our employees here that want to get vaccinated have gotten their vaccine, and last month we started actually vaccinating some of our students as well. And so we're excited about the advent of the vaccine, which is allowing us to get further down the road and closer towards steps towards normalcy. So we're excited about that. So my guest today is probably pretty obvious to you, is our new Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics, Tom Bowen, who was hired last month. And we want to chat with him about his vision for the future of athletics at Arkansas State and also to learn a little bit more about him. So welcome to the First Friday video, Tom.
Thank you, Chancellor. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here as well. Now, you've been here for about 2 or 3 weeks by now,
right.
And you've had a chance to learn a lot about what's happening at Arkansas State as far as athletics goes and about the university as a whole. And I know it's probably like drinking from a fire hydrant a little bit. And so why don't you share with us maybe your first impressions about A-State and lead into like a vision for athletics at A-State.
Sure. Well, when I had a chance to interview for the position, you know, I'd been up here a few times and had done some work with Terry, and of course we competed up here when I was at my other university in Memphis, so I was familiar with the place. What I didn't really see until I got here was the unbelievable people and staff and student athletes. I really like these head coaches. I really like my senior team and my staff. I think they're wonderful men and women who have fought through probably the hardest thing you could ever do in Division I athletics is run sports through a pandemic, and they have worked really hard and they've been tireless, have given our student athletes here a great experience. So I'm real impressed with the level of head coaches here, their commitment to their student athletes, the student athletes themselves, how excited they are to be part of Arkansas State, how much pride they take in who they are and what they do, and how they really articulate a love for this university, for its leadership, and really want to compete and win. So I think for me it's a perfect fit, and I feel very fortunate to be here.
I thought it was really interesting that when we were trying to schedule your press conference that you said, I want to meet with the vice chancellors and my cabinet, you want to meet with the coaches, and you want to meet with the student athletes before
Yes.
we did any of that, before we introduced you to the public. And we also wanted to get the staff in there. We just couldn't make that all happen. But I thought that said a lot about your vision and your mission for athletics here at A-State. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I've always believed that it's real important to give the real stakeholders a chance to see the new director, the new vice chancellor, so they know they can identify immediately what it's going to be like. It's to build a culture, and it's to create a level of trust and engagement. And it makes the student athletes, I've always done that, met with the student athletes before I ever was introduced publicly. So every student athlete knew exactly who was going to be in charge of the ship and what we were going to do together and where I stood on transparency, on graduation, on competing, and on accountability, and that we are each other's brothers and sisters keeper. The meeting with the head coaches is really critical, so they need to know who is their main report, who's going to be riding them with them, who's going to partner up with them and give them all the opportunities. And meeting with the other vice chancellors was important so that they would know who I was and could start to build, as we did today in a great Zoom call, a real camaraderie, a real trust, a real engagement. Athletics is a key part of an institution, but it's not the part. And in fact, we are just the front door of an amazing place. We are ambassadors like everybody else, and athletics opens a lot of opportunity for a lot of people, but the university itself is the main gem, the main piece. And so I wanted to make sure people knew that. You know, this is my third chance in a major public university to run a Division I FBS athletic program. I would say I've learned a great deal about the steps in which to build that culture, to create a vision, to focus on the most primary thing that we do, which is to graduate our student athletes at 100% and to win championships. You know, you didn't hire the director of intramurals. This isn't about participation, throw the ball out. This is about going out there competing with our colors and defeating our opponents. So you'll see in the coming weeks the talk of a new scholarship drive, because I believe that's the most fundamental piece of what we do, to go out and publicly ask people to philanthropically support our scholarships. The 337 student athletes that we have, that scholarship is making a difference in their lives of their families, in the lives of their future. And it's one of the most important things we can do. And it allows a donor to give directly to scholarship, and that money goes directly to those student athletes to get their degree and compete at Arkansas State.
Yeah, that is very exciting to see that. We've done a lot of fundraising for building buildings, and we haven't done as much for scholarships, so it's really important. It actually aligns with the university's drive to create more scholarships for our students as well.
Right.
One of the things that's really interesting about athletics compared to the entire university, I love your perspective here about athletics being part, but in many ways the lead part of the university, in that many people might only know about Arkansas State because of athletics and so on. But the reason that you're a Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics is because you're part of the Vice Chancellor's cabinet. So we want athletics to be not an island, but actually integrated very closely. And you've actually done a lot of that already, trying to integrate with the entire campus. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I think it's real critical that we take the initiative, that I initiate, the athletic director and our head coaches, our assistant coaches, that we initiate relationships, that we build communication, that we actually reach out. I'm not a big email guy. I don't think that's the right way to do it. It's face-to-face, it's phone calls, it's being true. And being an ambassador means that we're going to do all we can together to help each other. In the end, it builds a camaraderie inside the institution, so that in good times and bad times, we all stay together and we keep fighting to make Arkansas State University the best university it could possibly be. So I've always believed that. I think athletics is a wonderful, absolute, big-time public branding moment for universities. But it's just to get people to start thinking about being a part of this university. It's not the university. So I always had that approach, and I think you'll have it here. We'll get into and create some really national moments for this university's athletic programs over the coming years, and certainly it will lend a lot of opportunity to talk about Arkansas State University and what it does for young men and young women.
Yeah, because we're all about changing lives here, and athletics is an opportunity for us to tell that story. So there's a lot of interest right now, because we have a new football coach, about our football season that's coming up, and that provides an opportunity for us to share our message as well, not just about what we're doing here, but what it's like to be at Arkansas State and what the city of Jonesboro is like. So I want to talk about the football scheduling and how that's going to look for us.
Well, I think the 2021 season is really going to be a national story because of Butch Jones's return to be a head coach in the FBS level, because of the wonderful kind of program he's building and the kind of effort and excitement you're going to see from the men who are part of his program now. I think the way the schedule lines up, it's a great opener against UCA, and then my brothers down there in Memphis have to come up here and play us, and then we go to Washington, which is a nationally spotlighted Pac-12 team, and so I think, and then the 2 Thursday night games at home here on ESPN are absolutely critical for the city of Jonesboro, for the community, for Arkansas State University, for anybody that's an alum or alumna, and also anybody that wants to see something extraordinary. Because it's a national broadcast, and it's back-to-back, 2 Thursdays in a row. And it will be a big highlight moment for all of us. I do believe the 21 season is going to be very exciting. If I was a resident of Jonesboro, if I'm an alumnus of Arkansas State, I would make sure I got my tickets, and I would make sure I got to that stadium, because it's going to be electrifying what's going on right now.
This is probably the best home schedule we've had in a long time as far as the quality of teams that are coming here. Having another in-state school come here is also nice, and so that's always great. You know, something that's concerning me is about the changing fan engagement aspect of not just college sports, but professional sports as well. More and more people are staying home to watch the games on TV that are coming. Can you think about or talk about plans you have maybe to engage fans to come back to get more fans in the stands? Because again, it's become so easy to stay home to watch since more games are on TV now.
You know, I think a lot of it is going to be the ability to come and interface with a lot of pregame, day of game, and we'll announce all this as it comes forward. But a lot of game day experience is getting there early, having a chance to mingle with some other people, making sure we have all the proper alignments with our band and with our tailgating areas, and really about easy access in, easy access out, parking, availability, gates are open, places to get to, and making it very friendly and designating spots for people if they want, and then going out in the community and inviting community groups and create community energy around that, and do what we're doing today in our Zoom meeting, talking with a combination academic tour with an athletic opportunity, which I thought was great. Prospective students come in the morning and tour the campus. That afternoon they stay for the game. So I think a lot of that will combine in it. I think fans will come and see something extraordinarily exciting. So it's our job really is to make it easy to come and sit and be a part of that. The old traditional dynamics of this is your team and support them no matter what is ingrained in some, but the new generation of sports fans want to be something that's new and exciting and electrifying, and it's fun to watch, and it's loud, and there's a lot of things happening. And that's what we'll do. It'll be a very, very vibrant pregame and day of game and lead up to that. Fridays are real important before Saturday games, so that we're out in the community on Fridays. Butch and I will be out walking around and meeting people, shaking hands, going to downtowns and saying, hey, see you tomorrow. You know, handing out a couple tickets here and there and just making sure people know that we want them to be there. I think that's really critical, to be proactive. Instead of saying, you know, where's everybody at? You know, that doesn't work. What works is saying, hey, really, we want you to come back.
You can't wait to the day of the game to look up and see there's not as many people as you want. You need to be planning that. So, and that planning probably is beginning right now, right? It's April now, but you're already planning for August and September, the first game in September. Yeah, so that's exciting to see that. Now, one of the things that's also interesting is that when we were looking to hire an athletics director here, we wanted someone who understood the challenges that were facing collegiate athletics overall in a national level. And one of the big issues is transfer, how transfers has changed, the transfer portal, and easier access for students to transfer from school to school. But another big complicated topic is name, image, and likeness. And about maybe a week and a half after you got here, you were invited to actually testify down at the state capitol to talk about this. Can you talk about that, the experience of being down there, but also about the issue as well?
Well, I was thrilled to be there with Hunter Yurachek, one of my dearest friends and colleagues at Arkansas. And he and I together have been in this battleground of name, image, and likeness for the last 2.5 years since it first came into position on a NCAA bylaw. And so now it's become more of a state legislative drive to make sure states allow their student athletes the ability to have an opportunity to create branding and marketing of themselves and receive some kind of compensation from that. Name, image, and likeness is yet to really be defined because there's no national governance on it. There's no national governance from the NCAA yet, and there's no federal governance. So states are passing legislative things like Fair Play Act in Florida, First Play in California, and now there's 7 other states. Arkansas, I think today, will look at it, may vote for it today, would allow then those student athletes in that state to have the same opportunities that the other states have passed with other institutions, trying to create some sense of equity among those in which you're competing or around. That's the first step. What has to happen next is a federal umbrella needs to be created. There are 2 United States senators who have a bill called the College Athlete Economic Reform Act, and that act will then become an arching umbrella if it passes and should settle some of the unknown. What really nobody knows is how to govern it or how to make it compliant. But what we do know is that student athletes have the right to do their own marketing and branding of their own image and what they want to do. And the more we provide opportunity for that, then the more they can explore that. Here at Arkansas State, we'll be in the forefront. We've already begun. I met with compliance this morning at 7:30. We're going out how we're going to present it to our students and allow them to look at the platform to decide how they want to create a brand, what kind of imaging they think they could do. You know, do they want to do lessons or coaching or run camps, or, you know, it's not just about putting your face on a billboard and promoting somebody's product. It's about your brand, who you are. You know, what value does that have? And many kids don't even know. And so part of this will be a big educational piece where we will spend a lot of time explaining brand management, what it is, how it works. You know, there's a little component of an agent in here to hire if you want to do that, but that's really up to the student athlete. We're certainly not going to promote hiring agents, but that's why this is so complicated, because it doesn't have any governance to it. It's a student athlete benefit that has no box around it yet, and that's why it's creating so much controversy.
And each state is creating its own rules,
Correct.
And so then you're almost becomes a competitive disadvantage if you don't have policies in place.
Right.
And that was your point down at the state capitol.
It was because they were out of session April 30th. This national stuff will be decided in May and June. If the Arkansas legislature doesn't do something, then every athlete, Division I, II, and III in the state of Arkansas is at a disadvantage.
Well, it's so great to talk about athletics. You know, other than the GI Bill, more students in America have gotten scholarships to attend college through athletics. And
That's
so
right.
it's important, not just for the reputation and the perspective that people take on of Arkansas State because of they're seeing our student athletes competing, but it's important for our student athletes because they're getting a chance to go to college they might not otherwise have. And your department's done a great job of not just recruiting great student athletes, but also recruiting great students, since you provide a lot of support for them. But your students come here and perform well on the field, but also in the classroom, and they're graduating at a high rate, which is fantastic. In fact, they're graduating at a higher rate than the rest of our non-student athlete student body, and so we're trying to emulate what you're doing in athletics and scale it up for the entire university. So it's really impressive. So thank you so much for being here today to talk about athletics at Arkansas State. And it's great to have you here in a leadership role. You have a lot of experience that was very helpful for us. And we're looking forward to a great relationship and working with you and learning from you, because you're a great teacher as well, and you've got a lot of experience that we can all learn from. Speaking of our athletics department, I want to thank them in advance for hosting our spring commencement ceremony at Centennial Bank Stadium this May. Conducting our last 3 commencements outdoors was one of the positive experiences from the pandemic. I want to remind graduates, don't forget to RSVP for commencement. And I also want to remind our rising juniors and their families, many of you have already qualified for what we call our en route degree. Some students overlook this opportunity. For most of our disciplines, after roughly 60 hours, you have earned an associate's degree. Check that A-State email from the registrar's office and claim your en route degree. April is here, and at A-State, that means the Convocation of Scholars. For more than 2 decades, we have celebrated scholarship and achievement by our students and faculty through a series of events. Of course, last April, many of those events became virtual events. While some, like Create at State, remain online, I'm pleased to announce that many others, particularly the Wilson Awards, will be a hybrid of in-person and live streaming. Look at the A-State website for details. During the Convocation of Scholars, we have something new for our Faculty Achievement Awards. Thanks to the generosity of one of our legendary alumni, Mr. Buddy Beck, the inaugural Chancellor's Medal for Research and Creative Activities will be presented to a member of our faculty selected by a panel of their peers. And starting next spring, we will convert the existing Faculty Research Award into an Emerging Scholar Award to honor a pre-tenure faculty member for their work. Both of them will receive stipends to advance their research or scholarly activity. Speaking of our prominent researchers, Dr. Fabricio Medina Bolivar was selected this semester as an Arkansas Research Alliance Fellow. Not only has Fabricio's work in molecular biology and the use of plant technologies received worldwide acclaim, on our campus he's one of our top faculty members for graduate and undergraduate students who are interested in research. It was my honor to nominate him as an ARA Fellow. Well, that about wraps it up for this month's edition of the First Friday video. Before I go, I do want to remind our current and future Red Wolves of our recent announcement that our classes will be on campus and in person for both the summer sessions and the fall 2021 semester. The light at the end of our pandemic response tunnel is the Dean B. Ellis Library Tower, welcoming you all back to campus later this year. As always, you can reach me by email at chancellor@astate.edu, and you can follow me on social media at KDAP. Until next month, everyone, Wolves up.